It works.
You made that?
Yes. Oh. Sam, can you give us to how to access the mic? This is a red light on the right or left. Really enough. All that or reading off, reading off. When you press it, it's turn red, you're looking at the top of the mic, when you turn red off, that is the mic on top. This red, it's green right now, it's the microphone. We first turn red, but then the microphone is meaning. Oh, yes. Green all great.
You're able to see microphone right here. It's green, it means off. You press it, it'll turn red, and the next will be red also.
Sorry about that. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you bet. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Are you already behind? So we're going to start with the investment. So we have a forum for this meeting. I am this one. That almost the council of the woods. The last time we gathered and not at this meeting. What we'll start is start from my left here and if you go around yourself. They will get to this now. This is my problem.
Good evening, Lee Reed, United States Review Board.
Dorothy Hurst, representing Atlanta's ACAP.
Chris Brown. Good evening, Williams Collins, Citizens. Jay Ross. Brought out.
And if we can have everyone have an opportunity to get this. Very brief. So, what's the next door? So, we have to have a chair, for this, chair and a co-chair for this committee. Since we discussed, the chair, is responsible for 6 different items and ensuring that the operation. And as much as you want to increase or enhance the responsibility, therefore, make a decision to do that, they will need, we can. That. Here. We have. There will be committee work that we will elect here. So, all. Essentially, what we're looking at is we are identifying our chair and co-chair to lead this. We have any. We had a meeting, we met before, it was not 50, or 11, yeah. We discussed the fact that we want to, so that we can do this, so that we're great. I'm going to ask the question tonight. Beginning to have interest in serving as chair. Okay, Ms. Jasmine Moore, volunteer, to be the chair. Is there someone else who would like to be the chair? For that, like, campaign rules. Electing more, or anyone else who had a volunteer for the last time. All right. So we have Moore and we have Brown. Are there any other? For this? All right. I think the last time we had spoken, we had the same individual. We had spoken last time and indicated that if in fact that Moore was serving chair, Brown was serving co-chair, and that's successful. We will offer a vote. How many people are in favor of Jack and what's serving as chair of this committee? Great. So we have a vote, and we have. There. Okay. So we had a unanimous decision for Moore being chair, and let's also now vote for Mr. Brown, Chris Brown, serving as co-chair. And co-chair. So we have now that our chair, that Moore, and our co-chair, Chris Brown. Our next order of business is when your agenda is. Real people. Oh, okay. So, and we had talked before about meeting days being the fourth Thursday. And we came to that conclusion by all the other meetings that were held. David and Chris, here, different meetings that were taking place. Fourth Thursday. And I think it was every other month, that was discussed at that time. Yes, it was. Okay. So that's where we start. If there are any additional thoughts on that, then we are certainly open to have discussion about that. Say about Tuesday.
City will provide a free dinner. That would motivate.
I believe I'm going to go there and say councilman away from definitely work with make sure that, we're gonna make sure that we have.
Minutes for like that.
We'll make sure the minutes reflect the council choice, staff, and the things on her behalf. To make sure there's some, you consider it, your time, every time.
Thank you.
Typically, you know, we want to see the meeting, and then it's their meeting, for being respectful of everyone's time. We do expect those meetings to, be about an hour. Not telling you how long you think it's your meeting, but just for you to keep in mind, or less. But as you move the work. So we have a chair, four, co-chair Brown, we on our meetings being the fourth Thursday every other month, or if you want to be monthly, or every other month. There, bi-monthly, okay, so bi-monthly, and of course, that would be this meeting, this type of meeting. For any subcommittees that are created, other business that has to be done with anyone have any other questions?
Subcommittee, the space available here for here. If we choose.
Yes, sir. All we can schedule them, the meetings are scheduled, I mean, you can check that out, so we can schedule. Where meetings are scheduled based on time. But again, not necessarily. We usually find a committee room, available committee. But given the number that is available, this is all. But everything, and you can go, far out. So we know. What we would do is share the information with the public information on. All prior to making sure that the public. Will lead the notes, the minutes, and the video. Always available. And, I don't know if you did it or not, but you read that. There's more here. And the ground is both here. And we agreed that the meeting dates will be worth bi-monthly or Thursday. I will make sure that everyone gets a middle requirement that we got. Now, at this point, if you have any questions or if you have any discussions that you want to have.
And I had also been experiencing this degree as we think about needs and studies the state. don't have exactly a strategy on, but that's what it means to everyone to sit down on paper. But open to ideas, individual phone calls, virtual meetings. To kind of get that down so that we can review it, figure out where we can figure it out.
This we have discussed it in the previous meeting. I would like to better understand the mission and purpose of this commission. And also support. Just hear about who we are looking for.
I don't know if you remember, that's totally different. It sounds like it really does. We report on to committee. Anything, any suggestions, recommendations, strategies. But it's really up to us to decide what priority we want to set, where we want to go. My thoughts from the last meeting also were that we have to consider the strategies to address public safety, violence, and injury. Putting several buckets for everything reduction, and now happening system, things going on. So we can either focus on one of those factors or try to figure out strategies to present to and then put all three. But beyond that, it's basically very open to definitely well inside so we want to continue laughing.
That's exactly right. It's whatever issue or that you will look back from your respective organizations that you will body decide on. It's really bringing to the council those concerns that you are.
As the purpose of this commission also talk about. The chair is on the idea. Everyone can get a list of people on the commission. The easiest way to share information is just the email of what organization. Somewhat.
I would say that we will have those who are I would also suggest that what we might have at some point via email to share what their interests or concerns are. Because as the work that you have to do for the next meeting, when you substantially, I think we would be required to have some dialogue about anything. Let me have some of that discussion now. But probably to get everyone what's important.
I could offer a comment on that. I appreciate the conversation. All of these are really great ideas. Given that this is intended to be a public facing body and I think could really engage community members, as said Chris, I think it might be interesting to look at what to kind of open this up to communities, whether that's through a town hall, whether that's through listening sessions of some sort, but instead of coming with our own agenda to actually create, to kind of keep this off, we would say, let's create some type of forum to solicit from the community what their sort of top priorities are for public safety, and then it can invest to create more collective conversation.
Thank you for that. As a follow-up question to this idea,
should we take public comment in this forum? Do this on the agenda or will be considered, or should we have separate interactions with the community members with public comment? I'm curious about what other folks think, but I think it's about them.
Related to that question, I think we can go with the, I like to have the listening session and go into the communities, where the citizens are. Like 4 or 5 of them, 4 or 5 listening sessions, starting areas where we want to, that's public. Use the work, explore. So we have about open, scared of those out, open this up, correct. There's conversations that we do outside the set. That's how.
So thinking about moving that piece along, I think it would be really important for districts to be clear on how we're communicating messaging, what information is listening, and how we want to interact with the community. And I think between now and next meeting, it sounds like a lot of logistics, how we're going to be communicating, how we're going to organize, and also really setting aside focus for this group. Are there any ideas on the best one to do that? I'm not planning to do the forms or anything that makes sense to street and easy to measure, but open to other ideas of many ways to communicate.
Have a lot of time. Know that determine what your response to be that we have to do or send an email. Like not really get is bringing that we probably generate questions and answers that other people want to see. So we can look at how we set that up in one email. That's going to give us a great possibility to have and get to watch the follow. We have it today that build up for first meeting with future definitely have and then being able to respond. I'm sure we're going to get
Where does that correspondence go currently to other communities?
Typically, if they identify someone, if they identify someone, then it would go there. But someone within the office, would see that. Like Councilman Norwood's office with Jim. Jim was the last meeting. And he received that information there. So in our case, come into our office. Our councilman decision, which he's going to do, set up an email. That would be
Another question I had, we talked about someone who minutes, who records, now trying to talk about that.
You can talk about it. There won't be anybody councilman's office. However, two things. Well, two things. One, is that a requirement for public access? visually. For this meeting, for instance, it will be the agenda as printed. And then we will explain anything that was said as it relates to, vote. We had two votes, everyone attended and how they responded to the vote. Anything else, something else was presented, the details of everything we talked about the time and all those things. Those things really won't be decided, won't be a part of the minutes per se. Unless there's some action taken. About it. So, the video, however, of the meeting will be posted and available to the public. So, the public will have the meeting with the agenda and the actions that occur under the agenda as it relates to vote on action by. And then from there, it will be the video. So we can ask someone that for the end of the meeting to assist with that. But in terms of detail minutes, we probably are going to rely heavily on video. But in terms of meeting the requirements, you know, we will be helping requirements. We will want to support the board. And then someone within the organization, the committee should, you know, secretary or someone should, of course, have recording of the action. So we don't have that already tonight. If you don't think the president might. Companies with your final meeting, it would be good to get the 24-month meeting. You're halfway through almost halfway through the year, so there may be a need for a process rather than October, December, that you actually double up and be September, October, November. Get otherwise, so just bear in mind that recommendation that some of the well and will tell them that you have October is obviously scheduled with September, October, November, September. I take it back. There is a lot to be done and a lot of so idea three or four minutes. You divide it up between the 3 minutes, first and the 2 minutes. The second is what is the first? That's a great place to start.
I mean, unless there's something I'm not saying, I think that some of our, pretty narrow category. My next question is for our police chief. Can we get more data? I know it's a headache, but I've had to do it for my department. But I would like to see more data like time of day, average age for the age range of crimes, where it's happening at, what's frequent time. There's a lot of things we can add. I think to be more consistent with that and make sure we're really informed. I think that's a really good job. I don't take up too much time for it. I'm definitely think it's really And we may reach the point where we need to go out. Bring different groups together. Obviously, this opportunity, that, is very important. Yeah. Okay, so let's start.
As soon as possible, not very specific, but as soon as possible. So if, look what they're doing. I really, if you some sort of broad code something there, and you want to people have or really so, and then the additional information you want to share of the organization or the business of the city that's something happening or with priorities and issues. And then do groups and women and figure out what we can start to fall between now and then. I think that's something that's very people would usually start coordinating or do this for them. And then the feedback that we get from the community would help to refine and take that further. Hopefully we're able to interact and then we for practice. Absolutely. I would say, open source and open source, one of my goals abilities was a little basic data. So what I'm going to do is with the kind of model position that basically operates in the dependence of money. We'll offer some data around time with the healthcare information about injuries, the understanding the proportion of funded COVID injuries, and then working around with the community or community-led driven needs of intervention, of which additional policing is not traditionally the response, but brings in other types of prevention intervention within the ecosystem. So that's one of my priorities to understand the needs of all of the people. So that's a priority of mine. That's the problem. When we look at what the police do, they arrest, and there's a lot of data, the police have great data, they're very transparent, lots of data. And the next piece that we have to look at is the support system, the VA support system. That's a piece that we really have to focus on because that's where the skill living comes in, and that's where the core constantly open and concept, open and concept. And that's what we spend so much of their time. That's what the police to try to talk about. Here the police talk all the time. To rest, searching, 50 ways, 100 ways. And so I think we have to look at start relating you and how to make the case that this. That's the issue that we all
A full thing, we can't just look at the APD. Because that's not the full picture. But we do have to look at the plans that we need. Stop them, and of course.
This will give us help. If it's something that we prepare and use the lower Right. Their these things are important, maybe not necessarily in the meeting, but every.
There's just that we lost over many tweets, right, and then for the tweet.
You know, I think in terms of the subcommittees and with the idea that we really need to ask the public what their priorities are. I like the framework that you proposed in terms of thinking about public safety as prevention, you know, in terms of the prevention of harm. Intervention of harm, and with harm. I think that, you know, that would offer a framework to put into some of the very important issues that have been applicable right now, as well as thinking more broadly. So I would suggest that that might be an interesting way to talk to the subcommittee. If that would be a, you know, a way to get people aligned with their interests. And also to say that, you know, I think this is, we have an opportunity, because we get to create the pathway. We have an opportunity to deal with it and an understanding of what we do. And just to say that clearly, you know, there are certain responses that right?
So arresting somebody who's been arrested 50 times for the 51st time is, I would submit, you know, not a problem of the court system. It's a problem of the assumption that an additional arrest on that 51st time is actually going to change anything at all. And that, in fact, you know, we have the opportunity to think more broadly about what we can do to address community concerns, what we can do to more effectively promote community safety and well-being without relying on methods that do not work for many people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those three categories. And just going back to the conversation we were having about some of the topics, I am mostly interested in the economics of the situation. So what incentive is there to do crime in the situation in the moment that you are in your life? Especially the crimes that are related to enterprises that make a lot of money. It's a lot of money is subjective, but I think following the path of money and the income that you get from doing crime, I think we can make a lot of changes there. Like, for example, if I'm 15 and I live in, 2500 Center Street, I have a best friend that wants to go to Morehouse when he graduates from high school, and I have another one that may want to sell something that's illegal on the street. When I look at my options, how many times do I have someone showing me the different pathways that I can make money in the long term? What is there in front of me that brings value to my life 15 years from now? So I'll be afraid to go to jail. There's a point in time where, especially if you can get arrested, for something and come out really quick, you have to think, once you start going down the path of being a criminal, how does it benefit you? But, let's be honest. In some situations, it's very cool because where you're at and where you're from, there aren't any other opportunities that you're aware of. So I talk to a lot of educators and people that are a part of APS, and they try really hard. But I think there's something else we can bring. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not being critical of them, but I want to evaluate maybe the income levels of definitely the income levels and the socioeconomic situation of people that are committing crimes, how far that goes, how they literally feel about their life and their goals in the future. I think if we create an incentive not to do X, Y, and Z, but in a different way, not just, getting arrested or going to jail. Like, I want you to know that you're missing out on a $150,000 job, possibly at 24 or 25. But if you don't know that, you're not going to care about going to jail. This is the only thing that you see. So I'm kind of in that hemisphere. I think definitely in the prevention. I want to stop you, like, before the police even come up, before you make that decision, when you have that idea in your head. So that's kind of what my sentiments are.
Just another point to make, remembering and bearing in mind that you are advising the city council, legislative body. So in all that you consider and do, consider what legislative action or actions you might want to recommend. I guess the point I'm really making is bring up and have discussions about the issues are great, but at the end of that, there's got to be something that you're going to recommend. Not to say that the council is going to adhere, but you do want to make sure that your concerns will reflect or will bear some type of legislative action or direction that the council can take.
Madam Chair. So I want to make a recommendation, Chris Brown, that we create a committee that explores opportunities and best practices that are happening within the organizational structure of public safety. And maybe the first issue, I've heard it twice, is the nuisance law. So that's an issue in a committee that I want to put forth to recommend to get out of here.
Thank you, Vice Chair. In the final minute before Councilman.
This is a broad and diverse group we have here from such a different organizations. I think to better prepare us for the next meeting, because public safety is a broad topic, right? We could talk about repeat offenders, we could talk about juveniles, we could talk about what's going on in schools, we could talk about recidivism, this list can go on and on. And so in your recommendation of doing some type of a Google form in the closing minute, in your perspective organizations, what are you seeing as the biggest problem? Maybe writing all of those down, doing a Google form, and we take a vote on what top 3 buckets, to Ms. Hurst's point, what are our top 3 buckets that we want to hone in on. We cannot fix all of them, right? And making a very broad recommendation would just spread us very thin. So if we want to collect the data, we can't collect data on all of the young men who don't have, friends, or the Morehouse friend versus the other friend, or what issues we have in the schools or what issues we have in the city with the nuisance issues. repeat offenders, who's kicking in what doors, is it armed robbers, or is it the kids, the sliders on the scooters? So I think we should just maybe do a round robin. What is your number one issue? We jot them all down, make a vote, and do our top 3 biggest buckets, and then break down into subcommittees, just so that we can have some type of a framework for our next meeting, so that we're not, each person is their own subcommittee per se, right? Thank you, Sierra.
All right,
7:30.
Councilmember Waits.
Madam Chair, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Just wanted to thank everyone for your time and for coming out this evening. Chief, thank you again for your presence. That speaks great volume. So if we have any direct issues, we'll take them to you. Madam Chair, you have the discretion to extend your meeting 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So just wanted to also let you know that. And we thank each of you. We will continue to serve dinner at 6 p.m. But for tonight's sake, you guys have taken over the reins to this committee. And so we thank you for your service, for your expertise. And I know the city is in good hands with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any closing thoughts before a motion to adjourn? Stellar, motion to adjourn.
Do you want to extend the meeting, because it seems like we still don't really know what the plan is before the next meeting?
Is there a desire to extend?
Yeah, motion to extend the meeting by 5 minutes.
Any objections?
I second that. Andrew Anderson.
Okay. Additional thoughts?
I want to give additional thought, Chris Brown. If we could, just identify a committee that would help in the organizing structure. So it could be one of our first committees, so that way by the time we meet, we have a group that's already kind of looked at structure and how we can strategically move and do community engagement and those other thoughts. That's the first thought I think I've heard about how we engage the community. So if we create an organized committee, if that committee can kind of focus on that, come up with some ideas. So by the time we come back to our next meeting, that we have some ideas and some things to put around in between time.
I agree. Volunteers for this committee.
I'll volunteer.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Anyone else? Okay, and myself. Okay. Additional thoughts in our last 3 minutes.
Denise Paris. Okay, so we should expect an email from you that will respond to saying what our interests are and things that were like our general bucket list that we would like to see be formed into committees.
Absolutely. So let me restate what my strategy is, and then please add. So my plan is to get the email list that will come out so that I have contact information, and we'll distribute that in any email correspondence so that we all have access to it, if it wasn't already sent out to everyone. Second, I will work with Moki and Mr. Anderson to decide or come up with recommendations on what things we want to solicit from everyone, what pieces of information. And then we'll send that out either via email, just in the body of the email, but likely a Google form of sorts to make that information discrete and easily sorted. And then you can also add any other insights. So what your priorities are, information about yourself, your organizations, and the business of the city that you see needing to be addressed. And then we'll continue my work with the smaller committee to sort it into the framework of prevention, intervention, and reduction, and anything else that doesn't seem to quite fit within that framework for review by the rest of the commission for organizing priorities in advance of our next formal meeting. Additionally, I think we need to decide in this last minute where we want to double up on meetings so we can get the space reserved and scheduled. The 4th Thursday of November is Thanksgiving, I think. So it doesn't seem like Christmas or December or November are really on the table. Are we okay with having September and October meetings on the 4th Thursday? Any objections?
I'm okay with that.
Fantastic. So we'll work to get that.
And just bear in mind, that's great, because you have to have a quorum or there is no meeting.
Excellent.
What's quorum? 22 members?
I think we're 12. I think they're actually 24, so, 23, I believe. So I think 12 or 13 is our quorum.
Any other thoughts or motions to extend the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much.